Hello, hello, gorgeous souls. We are here with another episode of Heart and Soul, and today we talk about sleep. Sleep is an important topic because without sleep, we are not rested. Without enough sleep or always disrupted sleep, we can get very stressed, and it's unhealthy not to sleep enough. So, how many hours do you need to sleep each night, Janet, to feel good?
I used to be a really bad sleeper. So now that I'm recovering from insomnia, I would probably, on a good night, it would be 7, possibly even 8 hours on a really good night. But 7 and I'm good. Before that, when I really wasn't sleeping, it was never a good restful night's sleep. It was very broken up. I would be up in the middle of the night. Yeah. And I never felt rested. Whereas even this morning, I had to get up a little bit earlier because my husband and I had to leave him to the train. He was going up to London today. So the alarm went off at 5:30 this morning. And it did wake me up out of his sleep, I must admit. But then I felt that because I went to bed at 10 o'clock last night, so I still had a good night's sleep. So I feel fine. I absolutely feel fine. What about you, Caroline?
Yeah, I would say about 8 hours is really good for me. And of course, during my life, I had 3 children, you get up every hour, every other hour, you really have disrupted sleep, you feel tired all day. It's so much about the change motherhood brings as well, but you just sort of get through it. And only when you can sleep through the night again, and then one of the kids or all 3 of them, one after the other, of course, got sick and you had disrupted nights again, you really realize how tiring it is. I think while you're in it, you never realize it because you just keep going. That's sort of everything. And yeah, recently with going through menopause, with night sweats, it was really bad as well. And then during the day, I had this brain fog and couldn't focus, and truly realized how important sleep is and a good night's rest. And we carry so much into our bed. It's so important to have maybe a bedtime ritual like you do with children, to message your body that it's time for rest, so you can get into bed and have a restorative sleep, because otherwise you're still out there in your thoughts or things are going on, and yeah, it's not healthy. We all know how stress, our heightened cortisol levels really, really take an impact on our life and health.
Exactly. And I think you're absolutely right. The adrenaline glands, if they're sort of on hyper all the time and you've got all of those hormones pumping through your body, when you're on high alert, it's very hard to turn that off to get a good night's sleep. So there are some tips that we're going to share with our listeners, our viewers. What would be your top tip to help someone to start that promoting good, healthy night's sleep?
Yeah, my top tip is always to clear your energy. It's like taking an energetic shower, to really let go of whatever happened during that day. And then you can go to bed like completely refreshed. It's sort of, maybe also like putting up, just calming your system and closing your blinds and be ready to sleep. What's yours, Janet?
To be quite honest, that's one of the things I find. For me, it was very much my mental. My brain just would be overactive, and it would not shut down. And when I'm like that, there's just no hope of me sleeping. So I have learned now, I have sort of like a routine that I go through to prepare myself for sleeping. And there'd be things like I would have like a chamomile tea. I would have our dinner meal before 7 o'clock, so that I have a sort of, if I go to bed at 10, that's 3 hours without food, so that I'm not going with a full stomach, because that also can interrupt your sleep. For my busy mind, I would write things down, a list of things that I know I need to do like the following day, or things that are on my mind. If I kind of write it down, it's almost like it's taking it out and putting it somewhere that I'm not going to forget. And it kind of gives it that space then and quietens that down. I mean, what are some of the other things that you would do to prepare for bed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with clearing my energy, I also feel like coming back to my heart out of my mind. And what I have is a sheet of paper and a pen next to my bed, because sometimes you are in bed or wake up and then you have the greatest ideas. And then you think, oh, I shouldn't forget that. I need to remind that. And then, of course, you can't sleep. So just note it down. And then, like it's out. You can relax and go there. And yeah, it's having that routine, maybe reading a little bit before you go to bed, but sort of unwinding. Maybe an hour, 45 minutes before you go to bed. We all have our routine, like, I don't know, having a warm tea is always really good, brushing our teeth or getting into our PJs and getting into bed, reading or listening to some relaxing music, anything that truly soothes our mind and our body. Maybe turning down the lights already half an hour before you go to sleep. And another thing I did, sometimes when you have to go to the toilet during the night, I don't put on any lights, because that then I'm wide awake and I can't fall back asleep. So really dimming down the lights, having comfort, maybe even a candle or some aroma oils. I love that, a little lavender or something that really soothes you on all levels.
Exactly. I mean, for me, it was about also creating this space, that a comfortable, safe. For me, it was also about the safe thing, is creating that little sort of sanctuary that I want to crawl into my bed and I want to sleep. And exactly things like, hygiene, as sort of changing your bed regularly, because I love freshly laundered. And yes, I am one of those people that irons everything, but I love it. It really, I can't explain. I just really love it. And like you said, spray, I have a little spray that is like a lavender, relaxing. And again, that sort of scent. Also, then when I'm going to bed, I think, oh, it triggers all of those sort of calming responses that it's bedtime. Also, one key thing I think that, certainly most people are really guilty of is being on your phone or on blue light up until you go to bed. That means that your brain is completely wired and it's very hard then to get to sleep. So, put that phone away, put all of the, blue light stuff away, over an hour if you can before you go to bed, so that you allow your mind that sort of to quieten down. Would you agree?
Yeah, about the blue light, I am guilty of reading on my iPad with the Kindle app. Actually, that's how I fall asleep. I lie on my side and my iPad is sort of there in front of me, sitting or next to the pillow next to me. And then I just read, and then all of a sudden I doze off. And maybe because it's such an old iPad I have, it doesn't affect me. But of course, the brightness where on the really lowest point,
Yeah.
and it's just, yeah, I fall asleep reading, or sometimes I realize, oh, I'm getting tired, and then I just put it away. But I'm not, this is just reading. I mean, I think if you're
Not
then on
scrolling.
Facebook or scrolling or something, then you're more active, you're more
Yes, your
stressed.
brains.
But
Yeah.
just reading, and because the great thing is I don't need lights to read with my iPad. You know, otherwise you then have to turn off your nightstand TV. It's all these kind of things. But yeah, definitely be aware of those blue lights for everyone, even watching TV, you know, till you go to bed or in your bed. So it's all these kind of things just to learn to be aware of. And another thing is alcohol. You know, I used to have a glass of wine at night or so, but I stopped that. I mean, you fall asleep easier, but you don't sleep through the night so well. You get up, you have night sweats, and or then sort of really awake. So just something to try out. I don't say you have to abstain from any drinks, but just see, maybe if you had a glass of wine and another night not, just observe how your sleep patterns works. And one thing that really I wasn't aware of till about 5-6 times, and then I got it. It was, I woke up in the middle of the night absolutely fearful, and I thought, sort of, what's going on? You know, it's really. And then the next day I read that there was an earthquake somewhere around the world, and it happened a couple of times, and I thought, oh. And then I realized I wake up when there is an earthquake, and I probably channel the fear of the people. It comes here. And that helped me to just breathe through it and release that fear of the world, to just clear that, and saying it has nothing to do with me. I'm just here to transmute that. And I think we are so often so talking down on us, sort of like, oh, why didn't I sleep? What did I do wrong? Oh, maybe I forgot to do this 10 things before bed, so that's why I didn't sleep well. So just another reminder to be absolutely compassionate with yourself. And it happens. It happens to the best of us. Sometimes we just don't sleep well, and there is no reason for it. Just accept it, get on with it, and allow next night to be different.
I think that's the thing, is when you suffer with chronic insomnia, you build up this fear of going to bed. Because I know that that's how I was getting to the point of, like, I just, even before going to bed, it was like I was already thinking, oh, I'm going to be awake, I've got a busy day tomorrow, I'm not going to get sleep. And it was that negative talk. And I read a lovely little book about actually bedtime stories. And it was a lovely sort of way of using like NLP to reprogram that. And so it's about creating that lovely, cozy space that you want to go and spend time in, and you prepare it, and you have this sort of mental, oh, I can't wait to go to bed because I can sleep so well. And it is reprogramming yourself to really sort of believe, and you will get to that point where you're having a good night's sleep. And I think that was also changing your negative talk about sleep. Because
Definitely.
yeah, you're right. When you're constantly, every night you can't sleep, and you're telling yourself before you even go, I'm not going to sleep, it has that effect. So switch that around and tell yourself a good bedtime story.
Definitely. And also, you deserve a good night's sleep. sometimes people then have a story of, oh, maybe I didn't do enough, or maybe I'm not worthy, or whatever else. And then they feel like, oh, they are not deserving of a good night's sleep, or whatever. We can have all those different kind of thought patterns. And like you said, a healthy bedroom, with nice temperature, with nice linens, with clear air, also air maybe the bedroom before you go to bed, and make it a sanctuary. And I read many years ago also that don't work in bed or do other things in your bedroom. Keep it the sanctuary for sleep, because our body adjusts to that. If you constantly work on your laptop in your bed, then it's sort of like you're in work mode when you go to bed instead of sleep mode. So just be extra gentle, or use crystals also around your bed. And like you said, a safe space, because if you're afraid of someone climbing in my window, or is the door locked, or whatever else, you can't rest, because we feel vulnerable when we sleep.
Exactly. And it is about creating that. For me, it was important to have a place that I feel very safe in. I feel cozy. I mean, I am one of these people that completely cocoons myself in the duvet, which drives my husband crazy, because he's basically out at this time of the year. In the summer, he doesn't even want anything near him, and I'm like, it's like over my head, and he's going, how do you even breathe? And I'm going, I can't sleep without something. It just is me that I just need that tucked around me. And even sort of getting the right where you lie. For example, I do lie on my side. It's making sure the pillows are the right height. There's a lot of adjustments. And if your bed, your mattress actually needs to be replaced every 7 years. People don't realize that. And some people have a mattress for forever, but actually because of, for different sanitary reasons, and also it depends on the type of mattress you have. Sometimes it creates that sort of like thing. And the spring, if you have a sprung mattress, they can compress. And again, that could also be impacting you not having a good night's sleep, because your lumbar spine is not being supported properly. So there is a lot of aspects. It's like the princess and the pea, isn't it? That story of like, if you're not comfortable.
Absolutely. If it's not comfortable, or noises are disturbing you, so invest in good earplugs. I know many have maybe snoring husbands, or a noisy background if the window is open. I always have to adjust in spring. When I open the window, you get the outside noise, and allow yourself to adjust that and be extra gentle. Sleep is important, I mean, sleep deprivation has many side effects on our health and well-being.
And mental well-being as well. Absolutely. So yes, I mean, we all need sleep. And what an interesting, I did look up before we did this podcast, 30% of the world, there are people suffering with chronic insomnia. And I know when I lived in America, it was a major thing in America, and the number of people who had to take quite strong medication to sleep. But then it leaves you very not clear-headed in the morning. And I found that really quite shocking, that so many people were on medication. I mean, obviously there's times you may need to take that just to manage. But there is something about it. This is a natural process. We all need to sleep. Our body needs it. Our mind needs it. There's functions that happen when we sleep. And it is something that, you can learn, retrain yourself to be able to sleep. And hopefully some of our tips will help you to get there.
Yeah, definitely. And I would venture out and say, most sleep deprivation is in the industrial world, because it's more stressful. it's definitely linked to stress. So find calming, soothing things to do throughout the day, not just the hour before you go to bed. Release stress, bring down that stress level, and do it for you.
Absolutely. Helps you shine.
And if you're listening to this podcast in the evening, I wish you a good night's rest.
Same to you. Yes, have a good night's sleep.
Anything more, Janet, is good?
No, I think that's sort of some of the key tips. I mean, obviously, there's plenty of information out there on the internet if you want to search, but hopefully it's just about reconnecting with yourself and working to improve the quality of your sleep, because it is so important to you.
Yes, it is essential. So thank you so much for listening or viewing this episode. And next episode is about acceptance. Thank you so much.
Love and light blessings.